You are looking live at the Nasdaq daily chart. You can see that it pulled back to its 21 EMA this week, trying to hang on there like a cat hanging on to the shelf with its claws. And today it bounced slightly, bounced pretty weak bounce here. It was having a strong bounce until Jerome Powell spoke about, I don't know, he's a little bit hawkish. Um, Not giving the market what it wants with interest rate cuts or whatever. But anyway, if you look at the 5-minute chart here on the Nasdaq, you can see that it was having a really nice day, and then whoops, there at the close, yeah, Fed members, I wish they would really just keep their mouths shut. But anyway, that's out of my control. All I can say is that the Nasdaq was up 37% or 0.23%, closed at 16,277. And the volume, once again, is below average from the daily volume from the past 50 sessions. So, um, this was, I talked about the expectations here that it's been getting support at the 21, the 21, the 21, all the way along this rally. So I expected it to get support here today, and it did, but I would have preferred a lot bigger bounce. Perhaps maybe we'll get one tomorrow or Friday. But yeah, so it's with expectations. I mean, eventually one of these days it's going to pull back to the 50. It might not be for a long time though. And as long as it continues to get support there at the 21, you got to expect that it will get support, and it certainly did once again this time. And let me go through this process here. The Nasdaq is now 0.2% below its 10 EMA, is 0.3% above the 21 and 2% above the 50. So a move to the 50 is only 2% there. That's not a big move. I mean, it could do that in a day and find support, but if you just got to go with what it has been doing, and it continued to do what it has been doing. So that's the trend. Pull back to the 21 and bounce. And so, yeah, it met expectations today. Anyway, I'm going to move on to stocks because there's some good action today. Finally, first couple days have been kind of slow, but today some of our stocks started to pop. Meta Platforms, I have this one on our ready list right there at about $500. I like it above 500. I like it below 500, but not much below. Today the low was 498.75. Yeah, I like it above 500. I like it to take out the 523.57, the old high from March 8th, of course, when everything reversed lower. But that's just forming a little shelf pattern. Looks fantastic. NVIDIA is another one that I own. This is one of my largest holdings. And I don't know, I'm thinking about trimming it. I'm just getting tired of holding it. It looks like dead money around 900. It just can't get through 900. It made that high of 974 on March 8th, reverse lower and form this, shelf type pattern. I know it's foolish to sell any NVIDIA, but with so many stocks doing well, this just feels like dead money here at $900. It traded down to the 21, just like the index, and found support. But even it was down today. I mean, it's just not going anywhere. So anyway, I want stocks that are going somewhere. SMCI, this one it's been trading 10 to 12% daily range, and now recently it's traded down to 3 and 4% of its daily range. Today it was the high was 1042 and the low was 965, so about, I don't know, 7% of its daily range. Still, it's tightening up here, and yeah, that's the bullish engulfing candle. But this thing sold off with the news from Intel, which I'm going to get to in a minute. It just gap lower, and then finally buyers came in, pushed it higher, and then when the Fed opened their mouths, the stock sold off. So anyway, SMCI looks fine. I think they're going to have news here pretty soon, and it's going to break above this downtrend line and blast higher. Yeah, I said it. New highs above 1229. That's why I'm holding, because that's what I expect. Okay, it's pinching in here pretty nice. And if you look at the weekly, it's a nice little flag here. Yeah, this thing looks fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, I can draw lines all day. It's not going to help. So then we need buyers and some news to push it higher. Anyway, I've got to get to Intel because their foundries reported losses greater than expected. I mean, these guys are playing the long long game. They're getting subsidized by the government. They're building some massive, massive facilities here in Arizona and other areas. But man, they just, I don't know about the leadership here or what's going on with Intel, but it just can't get out of its own way. Down 8% today with that news. And Taiwan Semiconductor, I mean, they had an earthquake and they had the news from Intel, and this thing still found support at the 21 and bounced higher. So that's showing incredible strength here. It made that high of 158.40 on what day again was that? Oh yeah, March 8th. And then reversed lower and now forming this shelf. So that kind of looks like Meta, and it looks like NVDA and a lot of these other stocks. It just made a high, reversed lower, and now just kind of flagging or forming shelf type patterns. And these are getting to be like flat bases here of 5 weeks you need for a flat base, and they're getting close. Yeah, I don't know. I could look at ARM, but ARM is just kind of flagging as well. Made this big move. You got to look at the weekly. Made the big move and now just flagging. So yeah, that looks pretty good to me. But I'm not in it because I'm a dummy. I own the one that's not going anywhere is NVIDIA and SMCI. But anyway, ARM Holdings, the pole and the flagging out, that does look like it's turning into a flat base as well. Anyway, Broadcom, another one. These semiconductor plays had this ascending base pattern, ripped to a new high, reversed on earnings actually. After its earnings report, undercut the 50, then rallied back above, and now just kind of trading flat. Yeah. AMD had this on our ready list. I thought I would find support at the 50 and bounce, but it just can't do it. And it's just stuck there. I like it above 180, but it's got to make a move. I mean, this is a weird stock. It could trade sideways for a long, long time. It marches to the beat of its own drum. Anyway, I'm going to get out of the semiconductors and go to our favorite stocks. The miners. The miners and the oil and gas stocks are the ones that are just going parabolic right now. I mean, you can't chase these here. This is Southern Copper, SCCO, up another 3% today with volume. And you can see the breakout and the move higher. I mean, there's nothing to do here. I mean, if you own it, great, but God, you can't chase that at all. FCX, Freeport McMoran, I don't know if I had this on a ready list last week or not, but I like the pull back to the moving average and the blast higher, but it's gone now. These things are gone. I would not chase them. CCJ is a little more viable, but it's coming up the right side of the base as it ripped through the 50 here. And my experience is that when they move that fast on the right side of the base, when they get to that old high of 51.33, it's going to sell off a little bit and form a handle. So, it's very, very little reward there, a couple of bucks. Yeah, risk reward profile doesn't make an appealing trade. I did have Alcoa on the list because it was, in the base here, but this thing certainly has blasted out of there. If you caught that one, congrats. It's up more than 10% this week. So did I buy it? I might have bought a little bit, but not enough to make an impact on my account. Freeport McMoran, Alcoa, and what was it, Devon? Yeah, I might as well go to the oil and gas stocks. I had to buy some of these because they're doing so well, but I do not like to chase stuff, especially commodities. But this one, I had I forget the buy point on Devon, doesn't matter. Anyway, this is, if you look at the weekly, it's just, making the stage one base here. It's still emerging from this. This probably has a long way to go. It's up more than 5% this week, but that one looks good. Some of the other ones, I'm going to go through some of these like refiners. Phillips 66, just parabolic. This stuff is parabolic here. And I got to tell you, if this continues, this will put more pressure on your stock market than any other, Fed move or anything else, because this is inflationary and it's really going to have a ripple effect in your transportation stocks, your airlines, trucking, which trucks the food and everything else. I mean, this is not a good sign I don't believe at all. And I wish they would calm down, but they're just on a roll here. So I'm looking at some stocks that are a little more closer to bases. I put ConocoPhillips on our Ready list, that's up 3.5% this week. It looks pretty good. Still pushing away from its base, but actionable. Hess is another one. You can see it's still within the base here, trading sideways, and now starting to push away from the base, but having a good week as well. All these things, yeah, 2.3%. Okay, so I wanted to get to some of the stocks that we're not going parabolic like those ones that I showed you. So I did put a SDRL on our ready list. SDRL, now it goes up 4%. So it's starting to make a big move here. This is a drilling stock, you can see this base here, and now it's emerging out of the base. So yeah, this is bad news, I believe, overall. OII is another one on our ready list. Just building out the right side of the base. It kind of flattened out here, pulled back to the MA, now blasted higher again. I forget the buy point I had on this one, 22. That's up 9% this week. These things are trading like software names. Not good. I mean, but if you own them, great. But overall, you remember 2022, oil and gas was the only play in town. It just puts pressure on everything else. The tankers, I think this one is, it's trading sideways within a base. I like it at that 59.90 area. Yeah, it just broke above it today. So that one looks pretty good. Another tanker is FRO. This is Frontline. Yeah, consolidating in a base, hasn't gone parabolic yet. And probably my favorite of this group is LPG. Pull back to its moving average and blasted higher. This one is up, yeah, I was going to put this one on our ready list, but it's gone up nearly 10% this week. Oh, well, that's the way it goes. It's just building out the right side of the base. And these are late stage bases, folks. All of these are, what is this? Yeah, stage, what, 5.7, late stage. Just call it late. All right, anyway, enough of the winners and all the good tidings and the miners and the oil and gas stocks. I got to go to the losers today. Loser. And this is Ulta Beauty. Now they were at presenting at an investor day, I believe, or a conference, JP Morgan conference, and the CEO said something about slower traffic and reducing their guidance and margins. So they said it was they expected a slower consumer this year, but it's a little slower than they thought. So Ulta Beauty was down 15% on those comments and their cautious guidance, and it just brought everything down with it. Elf Beauty, this one is down, no doing of their own, down 12%. It didn't do anything, right? This is a sell sign for me when it slices its 50 with volume, but I have a good entry price in it, and I believe that the algos just got a hold of that headline and just turned to sales. They hit the sell button, didn't turn it off. But I went through some of the my past reports from Elf, and they do a lot of direct to consumer. I think 24% of their sales are direct to consumer. Just on Monday, they announced that they're the first brand to be a shopping item on TikTok, and I don't know. They just got their app on the Apple, what do they call those, vision goggles or whatever. So they're killing it direct to consumer. I'm not sure they really need Alpha to do well, and they're just getting into Target and Walmart. I don't believe the Ulta story pertains to Elf, but you got to respect the technicals. And if you have a good entry point, back here at 97, even here at the 130 level, you could probably afford to, I trim some, I'm holding some, but I respect the technicals, but I also acknowledge that I have a good entry point, and I just don't believe that Elf has lost that much momentum in that short a period of time. But I could be wrong, and I got to be flexible and open-minded. And if this continues to sell off, I cannot let profits turn into a loss. So that's where I am with Elf Beauty. Also, Estee Lauder and Coty, the whole cohort went down today because of that. Signet Jewelers, on the other hand, a retail name that raised guidance, and so people are buying rings, I guess, and getting married and living happily ever after. This is up 10% on that news. So retail is really a mixed bag, hit and miss. I'm not going to do the shoes today. I'll get back to that later in the week. But yeah, yeah, the retail is really hit and miss here. And overall, the XRT, I think, was one of the weaker, if not the weakest, today. Yeah, down more than 1%. So yeah, it's oil and gas is going to have an inverse effect on the retail name. So hopefully that thing could just kind of go sideways here. And I don't know, the consumer, I'm going to get to that a little later on. Anyway, I've got to go to these hardware names because for a couple of days there, they forgot about the data centers and the hardware and the build out of the AI. I heard Steve Cohen on being interviewed this morning, and he's the owner of the Mets, by the way, and he said that the stock market is discounting AI. In other words, he thinks we're in the early innings of a big, huge revolution, and it's going to be much bigger than the market's giving it credit for. Dell Technologies is right in the middle of this, and they were up nearly 9% today. Of course, SMCI and VERT as well, same thing. They're in the data center play. So the data center build out of the AI is huge. Wow, I didn't realize that was up nearly 6% today. So good day for Vertiv. Some of the other ones, the data storage names, I've gone through this. And if you go to the weekly chart, if you have market surge, it gives you this earnings line here. And when they start going due north, the stock's probably going to go due north too. Wow, that thing was up 8% this week. It's having a good week. More than 4% today. So good for MU. A couple of the others that I like, well, let me go here. First of all, this is a Taiwan-based company, and with the earthquake in Taiwan, you thought all those stocks would sell off, but this is a strong stock and a strong, the computer data storage group, and it was actually up today 1.4%. If you look at the weekly, you can see this, big base. The earnings line needs to start turning up like MU, but that stock looks pretty good to me. NetApp, another one in the group. You can see this earnings is turning up as well. It had this big gap higher on earnings, and now it's kind of formed a flat base pattern. That needs a couple more days, I believe. Yeah, that looks great too. Another one is Pure Storage. Charlie Giancarlo's company, kind of a similar profile there, forming a shelf, getting support at the 21, but that's a strong group. Another one in the AI build out that must be acknowledged is Arista Networks. I have this on our ready list. I like it, just like Meta above 300. I still like it below 300, but I prefer it take out this old high here, but we'll see what it's going to do. I'm going to leave it on our ready list. It looks fantastic. Some of the software names had on our ready list today. I think I put them on last night. Spotify. Just so happened they announced, I don't know, $1 or $2 increase, and Wall Street liked it. It was up 8%. So it's had this move up to 272, pull back to the 21, formed like a shelf pattern or flat base pattern, and today made a move higher. Yeah, look at that bounce. Very nice. And you could see, the earnings profiles trending up. So good sign for Spotify. DUOL. This one is tricky, folks. I have a hard time with this stock. You can see its pattern, though. I mean, clearly it has these pullbacks and raises higher. This one really jumped higher. It pulls back, runs higher. It pulls back, runs higher. Now it pulls back below its moving average here. And today bumped up against that 10 EMA. It was up 3.5%. Back to the 220 level. Just a crazy stock, very difficult one to trade. And you can see it's still kind of forming that base there. That was Duolingo. What are the other ones I have? Oh, Hubs. I have Hubs on my ready list. Just kind of still consolidating within this base. Support at the 50. That one looks great as well. 2.75% move today. So the software name's looking good. I got to go to the drugs. This thing is a gift here. I can't believe the way this thing's selling off. It was only up, what, 50 cents today? That's what I'd call candy. Taking candy from my babies. You can see it's pulling back here to its 10-week line. It should get support there, although ELF didn't, did it? Let me see, 125.62. The 10-week line is 1.1% above it. So, yeah, I'm expecting a bounce here. It's down 4 weeks in a row. That's just unacceptable for a stock like that. Eli Lilly, another drug stock. Just kind of going sideways. Looks a little better than Novo. Yeah, not selling off quite as sharply. But anyway, that's it for the drug stocks. I wanted to cover those today. And I mentioned the data center build out, and they need power. GE, gosh, it was up 6% today, 6.7%. It's spin off here. It's another power play. Yeah, I'm gonna let that thing settle down. People get excited about these IPOs. Let that one come back down. But anyway, that's a GE Vernova, which is an energy play, alternative energy play. The other one that looks good in this build out of the data centers, they need power, is Eaton, up nearly 2% today. And you can see this thing looks like an oil and gas stock, just going parabolic, trading higher with this moving averages. Kelly Slater Surfer Power sold off a day or two, I believe. Yeah, 2 days back to the 10 today. Said, nope, not so fast. We're going to new highs. So Power made, or I shouldn't call it Power, Quanta Services made a new high today. Sterling, STRL, another one of these, data center build out plays. Sold off a couple days, found support at the 21 today, up 2%. That one looks fine as well. And anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you for watching. I'll have more in the morning. We have a couple of earnings reports in the mornings, I believe. Things are starting to pick up now. The third day of April, yes, the second quarter. We have earnings to look forward to here, which I'm really looking forward to these AI plays, and because you're going to be able to see those, separate the winners from the losers as these quarters evolve, and months, quarters, and years evolve. It'll be easier and easier to pick out the winners and just kind of hold on to them. I lied. I have one more thing. I have to acknowledge the retail restaurant stocks. I mentioned how retail was down, but gosh darn, somebody's eating out at these places. They like the retail restaurant stocks. Wingstop made that high there of 375. What day was that? March 4th, so before the March 8th reversal. 375.32, pull back, undercut the 21. That's kind of like a little flat base pattern there. Needs another couple of sessions, but yeah, still I like Wingstop showing strength, not selling off like Elf and Ulta Beauty and some of these other retail names. Another one in that group is, relatively new IPO, CAVA. You could see this one made this cup with handle pattern, just trading higher, pulled back to the 21 and found support. That's what you want to see in your stocks. You want to see them being supported. SHAK, another one that was having trouble with the 100 level, thought it cured its ills and then pulled back. And today, just support there at the 21. We'll see if it can, trade higher and bounce from there, that level. And the last one, of course, is CMG, which has their 1,000-to-1 stock split, which a lot of people like. It just pulled back to its 10, made that high of $3,023.98, pull back to the 10. It looks very strong. And that is it for me today. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow.